Breaking news this morning, there is a big repair job ahead for a drugstore in the Northern Valley after it was hit by a car overnight. Grand Forks police say a driver lost control of his car on South Columbia Road around 11 last night and then smashed into the Thrifty White Pharmacy. The car broke through the wall in the window and ended up partially inside that store. There is now significant damage to the foundation and interior of that building. No one was hurt. The driver, 31-year-old Gabrestos Ambe of East Grand Forks, was ticketed for care required. New this morning, police say the injuries would shock most people. And now a 22-year-old South Dakota man is facing murder charges for the beating death of his 8-week-old child. Sioux Falls police got a 911 call Saturday from Dylan Castamore, who had said the baby was not breathing. The child later died at the hospital. An autopsy shows the infant suffered from extensive skull fractures and broken ribs. Police reviewed surveillance videos from the apartment complex, and officers say they heard what sounded like loud thuds and then crying from inside Castamore's apartment. The North Dakota Fire Marshal is on the way to Horace, where fire gutted this home and sent one person to the hospital. This blaze was called in around 4 yesterday afternoon from near Highway 81 and County Road 16. One person from the home was taken to the hospital. We did not receive an update overnight on the extent of their injuries. Easy does it as you head out on your drive around the valley this morning. A dusting of wet snow followed by freezing temps turned a lot of roads icy. Now this is a live look near Costco along Veterans Boulevard in West Fargo. Our Valley Today photographer Nick has been checking roads around the metro this morning, and he spotted some sanders at around 5:30 this morning. He says the main roads are starting to look a little bit better than they were a few hours ago. However, it is still a slick drive out there, and your neighborhood roads, well, they likely haven't been treated at all yet, so be careful. Lisa Green has been tracking this weather system and lets us know what it's like around the valley. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Yes, we are still dealing with some icy, snowy conditions out there, and it's the usual suspects too. Those bridges, on and off ramps, your intersections, those are going to be some of your iciest spots, but a lot of places still reporting some snow-covered roads throughout the valley, up north especially where we have the accumulation. And you can check out those conditions on our Valley News Live weather app or head to valleynewslive.com, and we've got your road conditions for you throughout the tri-state area. We are also on top of dealing with slick roads, dealing with some patchy dense fog. So not only are we watching for roads on the conditions on the surface that are hazardous, but it's going to be hard to see them in some areas with some fog out there. You can see at Fargo, our visibility looking okay. Might be a little bit hazy here this morning to start off. Traffic picking up as we are starting up that morning commute, and temperatures are below freezing. And of course, these numbers are going to be critical today. Staying below freezing means we are certainly going to be seeing some areas of ice. 30 degrees right now in Fargo. Wind is out of the south at 8 miles per hour, so it feels like 22 degrees. And we're going to see those temperatures soar from here, so be ready for some big changes. Here's our view in Grand Forks. You can see some snow on the parking lot here as we're looking toward the Sorley Bridge from East Grand Forks. And temperatures in Grand Forks at 25 degrees right now. Wind is pretty light out of the south at 5 miles per hour. It feels like 19 degrees. So again, some continuous issues with not only some ice this morning, but also visibility. Eastern North Dakota is looking a lot better than some of our viewers and communities into Minnesota. We're looking at visibility down to a half mile in Detroit Lakes and in Park Rapids. So visibility down quite a bit because of fog. Wadena checking in at less than a mile. Up into Thief River Falls, a report of a half mile visibility there. And in fact, on our DOT cams, we've been seeing that as well. And up in Hallock and Grafton, visibility down slightly. That's an area where we may have a little bit of drizzle, freezing drizzle, or some flakes. You can see that we've got some pink and blue showing up north of Highway 2 there in the Northern Valley. It's on the trailing end of another wave that's mainly passing through Canada. That's going to move through pretty quickly, but watch out for some additional moisture there this morning. Here's your bus stop forecast. Expect to have conditions that are going to be more on the cloudy side this morning. Temperatures, again, near freezing. The kids will want to watch out for icy spots on the sidewalks. This afternoon, though, may feel more like springtime. Temperatures back into the 50s. Our record in Fargo for today, 57 degrees, and I think we've got a shot of getting there. Our forecast high, 53 right now. It'll depend on just how strong that warming wind is, but regardless of whether we see a record or not, it's going to be warm. Now, heading into the rest of the week, back into some 30s, still above freezing for highs Thursday and Friday. And then here comes winter time. Here comes December weather for the weekend and into next week. Chances for some snow showers and temperatures that will be below freezing.
All right, it's beginning to look a lot like springtime out there.
Exactly. Kind of strange to start off the month.
It sure is. All right. Thank you, Lisa. It is now 6:56. The West Fargo School Board will not change its COVID policies. The decision came after an hour of discussion at a special meeting last night. As it's written, if 5% of students in a school are positive for COVID, the school may temporarily close and move to distance learning. Board members say they'll watch the numbers and consult with healthcare partners. A U.S. magistrate judge in Minnesota has denied a request by 3 former Minneapolis officers to be tried independently from convicted murderer Derek Chauvin on federal charges in the 2020 death of George Floyd. The judge says the federal case has significant overlap of the charges against all 4 former officers. Attorneys for Tou Thao, Alexander King, and Thomas Lane have argued that Chauvin should be tried separately because he's already been found guilty in a state case, and that could prejudice a jury. The federal trial is on track for mid-January. Chauvin was convicted of murder in the state case and sentenced to 22 years in prison. Thao, King, and Lane also face charges in a state trial that's scheduled for March of next year. A former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer will testify at her own trial. Jury selection started yesterday in the Daunte Wright case, and so far, 4 jurors are seated. Kim Potter is facing first and second-degree manslaughter charges for Wright's death. Potter says she meant to pull out her taser as he struggled with police, but then grabbed her gun and shot Wright during a traffic stop last spring. The head of North Dakota's only abortion clinic says the stakes have never been higher in the debate over a woman's right to an abortion. Red River Valley Women's Clinic Director Tammy Kramenacher is heading to Washington, D.C. today to join a group of pro-choice supporters outside the Supreme Court. Justices are scheduled to hear the testimony on a Mississippi case that many believe could decide the fate of Roe v. Wade. The head of North Dakota's anti-abortion legislative caucus calls this case the strongest opportunity to see Roe turned back to the states. Some people in downtown Fargo are fed up with living in a so-called quiet zone, but they're still kept awake by trains every night. The downtown quiet zone applies to 4 intersections from Broadway to University, but it ends less than a quarter mile down the tracks. Trains are required to blow their horns before crossing certain intersections, but some people who live downtown complain that there is less noise from the traffic, and as temps get colder, the sound of the whistle travels even further.
They blow that horn so loud at night, and it'll be all night long.
City officials say they're in the process of expanding that quiet zone. Let's get the answer now to that question of the morning on Facebook. Our question today is 14% of adults say they've had a drink or two before they head here. The answer is the dentist, maybe trying to numb a little bit of their own pain. Remember, play along every day. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. Find us on the Fargo CW. Have a happy Wednesday, everybody. Now on the Valley today, be extra careful on your morning drive. Our recent rain and snow mix is making for incredibly slick roads in the region. Lisa Green lets us know if we'll melt some as we head throughout the day. And new this morning, a disturbing case out of South Dakota where authorities say an 8-week-old baby was beat to death, and now this person is under arrest. And today, the fire marshal is heading to the scene of a massive fire where the heat could be felt hundreds of yards from the home. It's Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. The Valley Today starts right now.
This is the Valley Today on Fargo CW.